The first-class cabin from LaGuardia to Chicago looked exactly as Darren Cole expected: sleek, quiet, and expensive. A man like him, the billionaire founder of a software empire, lived inside control: quarterly forecasts, acquisitions, power lunches, headlines. But the moment he buckled in with his 9-year-old son Jonah, control started slipping like sand through his fingers. Jonah was autistic, brilliant at spotting patterns and trained schedules, but easily unraveled by noise, change, or stares. Darren's late wife had known how to anchor him, but since cancer had taken her, Darren had thrown money at tutors, gadgets, private therapies. Still, here he was, on an airplane full of strangers, bracing for the inevitable storm. The flight attendants did their safety demo. Darren tried to slip headphones onto Jonah's ears, but the boy tore them off, rocking harder. The engines roared for takeoff, and Jonah's voice rose above them. High-pitched, panicked, unstoppable. Passengers in suits frowned. A woman hissed, "Why can't he control his kid?" Darren felt their eyes slice into him. For once, money bought nothing: not calm, not respect, not a mother's touch. He snapped commands Jonah couldn't process, his voice growing louder than the boy's. The meltdown spiraled, raw and public. In premium economy sat Marcus Reed, 12 years old, traveling alone with nothing but a backpack and a bag of toy cars. He watched the scene unfold from behind the curtain that separated classes, a flimsy cloth dividing privilege from ordinary struggle. Marcus had seen meltdowns before. His cousin Jaden was autistic, too. At home in Cleveland, Marcus often stepped in when adults floundered, kneeling by Jaden with a soft voice, a toy, a rhythm that made sense. Now, on this plane, no one was helping. Not Darren, not the flight attendants, not the disgusted businessman muttering about delays. Just a boy locked in panic while the world judged him. When turbulence jolted the cabin, Jonah screamed and curled under his seat. Darren's hands hovered helplessly. That's when a flight attendant whispered to Marcus, "Would you maybe try? You seem to know something." Marcus walked through the curtain, toy car in hand. He didn't crowd Jonah. He crouched sideways, not forcing eye contact, and began sliding the little car across the floor in a steady 7-beat, pause, then 3-beat rhythm. 7 fast, 3 slow, he said gently. Jonah's rocking shifted, sinking to the pattern. The screams dropped into whimpers. Slowly, Jonah looked at Marcus, not at his father. He reached for the car with trembling hands. The cabin hushed. A miracle, some thought. Others muttered, "Why could a kid do what the father couldn't?" Darren's jaw tightened. He wanted to hate the stranger boy, but instead he found himself listening as Marcus explained, "Give him choices. Don't grab. Ask." Darren tried it, clumsily. "Jonah, do you want the window open or closed?" Jonah answered, his first calm words of the flight. Darren's throat tightened with shame. A billionaire, yet it took a middle schooler with a cracked toy to reach his son. For the next hour, Marcus guided both father and child. Jonah tapped numbers, laughed once, even let Darren's hand join the rhythm. Other passengers, who had sneered, began to soften. The businessman admitted his institutionalized brother had been autistic, a wound he'd buried under cynicism. A lawyer nearby offered Marcus's family free legal help after hearing his mom was fighting cancer linked to asbestos at her job. A restaurateur promised Aunt Charlene, the woman waiting to take Marcus in, steady work. A community sprouted midair from what began as scorn. But the story didn't end with landing. At O'Hare, Darren thanked Marcus awkwardly, promising to keep in touch. Jonah clung to the boy, whispering, "Friends are forever." Cameras caught nothing, but passengers left buzzing. Hours later, in the airport lounge, grounded by storms, Darren faced the same test without Marcus. Jonah unraveled again, pacing, shouting, sobbing. Passengers lifted phones, ready to film. This time Darren knelt, remembered the rhythm, mirrored his son's rocking instead of fighting it. He called Marcus on FaceTime, voice cracking, "Tell me what to do." Guided remotely, he calmed Jonah himself. A father reborn, humbling himself before a child. By morning, the video had spread anyway. Someone had filmed the boy with the toy car stopping a meltdown. Comment sections exploded. Some praised Marcus as a hero. Others mocked Darren, the powerful CEO, for being schooled in compassion by a kid from Cleveland. A few sneered at Jonah, as if disability was spectacle. The internet split, as it always does, but one truth stuck. Empathy had worked where authority failed. When Darren and Jonah finally reached Los Angeles, reporters swarmed. How do you respond to critics saying you were exposed as a father? Darren could have spun it, framed it as a PR win. Instead, he shocked everyone. They're right, he said. I had power but not presence. A boy named Marcus taught me the only thing my son needs is someone willing to meet him where he is. That's worth more than money, more than titles. The words reverberated. Weeks later, Darren stepped down from daily control of his company. He founded the Marcus Reed Foundation for Neurodivergent Youth, pouring millions into programs for families who couldn't afford what he once wasted on failed fixes. Meanwhile, Jonah kept that broken wheel toy car on his nightstand. When FaceTiming Marcus, he'd tap out 7 fast, 3 slow, with a grin. At school, when another autistic child froze, Jonah slid the toy across the table, passing on the lesson. At home one night, Darren shut off his phone, something the old him would never have done, and stood at Jonah's doorway. His desk no longer displayed industry awards, but a drawing Jonah had made of a superhero plane carrying both boys skyward. On the shelf sat the toy car, imperfect, yet still rolling. Darren whispered, "We're good, son." Jonah nodded once, as if to say, "At last, you're learning." And the world kept arguing. Was it humiliating for a billionaire to be rescued by a child? Or was it proof that real wealth lies in listening, not leading? Either way, no one forgot the image of a boy with a broken toy car calming the chaos in first class, rewriting what strength really looks like.